everybody, and welcome back to the Table501 Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, or one of your hosts, Justin, and with me are Ahmed and Shane.
What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
And this is what, our 5th episode?
Yeah, well, it will be. I mean, gotta, yeah. 4th episode. Sorry about that, guys.
This is the 5th episode we're recording.
Yes, I know. This is the 5th episode, but I just want to apologize about the 4th episode. Some stuff got the audio got corrupted.
Should still be salvageable, hopefully, but might be a little awkward.
Yeah, that's why there was such a big gap between episode 3 and 4. I was trying to sort that out.
Anyway, how's everyone doing here?
I'm doing pretty good.
All right.
Ahmed?
I think he said he's alright already.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
I'd say the same. We're going on like week question mark of the coronavirus quarantines, so
Yeah, I cannot wait till this ends. I want to go to locals so bad.
yeah. So today I think we are starting out with set releases, which we've got quite a few to cover here. Who wants to cover Blar here?
I can give it a look through real quick.
I mean, talked about it in our last episode too.
Yeah.
A
True,
pretty fair amount.
True.
But I mean, now that it's like actually out, we can like talk about its implications on the meta and all that kind of stuff. Which is about the same as we said before.
Yeah.
You know, Numeron is a hell of a card. And that's like pretty much the only thing out of this that became meta, right? Fossil didn't do anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's like some fossil cards that they use in Adamantipator, but that's it.
And that's like only if they decide to go with that. I've heard people say Appliancer, but
Nope.
it hasn't done anything.
Flower Guardians are taking over the meta, I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
Dude, the Gaia stuff is way too strong.
That's in Rise of the Duelist.
I know.
Wow. No. Okay. We're calling it.
Thank you for tuning in to the Table501YGO. No, but I mean the Trishula fusion has seen some play. But yeah, like there's literally nothing else that has seen meta that I'm looking at here.
Outside of the reprints.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Which we got some nice reprints. Sanctum. We got yet another Utopia.
I mean, there's like, you know, this Angeli, there's some Invoke stuff, of course, none of the like main stuff, but I guess Invocation. But they fucking short printed that again, didn't they?
I think so.
One nice reprint out of this, sadly that I have to say this, but is Cross Sheep getting an ultra rare and also getting a reprint, considering it was for a while it was like a $5 common.
Yeah, that was kind of
another
nuts.
rare.
Oh my god, yeah, that was it.
I know. I had it at the front of my binder because like when I pulled it, it was a $15 rare, or was close to it. It went
It's a
way
good
down.
card.
Oh, that
It's
was like
such
really
a good
close
card.
to a release.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see, you know, finally it's got like a hollow version and you can use it to flex on people and be cool. But yeah, I don't really think anything else in this is really worth talking about.
We can talk about Rise of the Duelist.
Yeah.
Pretty solid set overall. You know, we got your Dragma Balls, Dogmatica stuff. You got some Fluffle stuff, which has not made nearly as much as a splash in the meta as people thought it was gonna. What else did we get?
Infernoble stuff.
Yeah, we got Infernoble stuff, which is cool. Triple Tactics Talent, which people are it's not seeing as much play as people thought it was gonna.
Yeah.
It's again still a great card, still a fantastic.
Yeah, I mean
card,
it has
but,
the
like,
effect of
not as
3
much
banned cards.
as people thought it was gonna have. And then Forbidden Droplets is getting a little bit more play from what I've seen, which is you know also
Droplets is a lot bigger than I think people expected it to be.
Yeah. It's an insanely good card. It's like a mandatory card in every going second. Like if you're gonna play blind second, you need 3 of this card.
Mm-hmm.
Because the problem with it used to be Dark Ruler no more, but the problem with that is if you're playing a blind second OTK deck, Dark Ruler kind of conflicts with that. Forbidden Droplets doesn't. Not too bad, at least.
I think do we want to talk about our thoughts on tactical talents, or?
I mean, I think this is the spot to talk about it if you want
There's
to.
there's not too much you can say though, because like, you know, like the card is pretty self-explanatory, and we all know what it does. It's a great card. It's a great card, but like, you know,
I feel like if it stopped whatever you were the effect of whatever you were chaining it to,
you can't
that
chain
would,
it.
or well, not
It's a
chaining,
normal
but
spell.
yeah, but like if it was like a quick play or like a hand trap type of thing that you could chain to the effect of, like, let's say your opponent used it on your turn, or a monster effect in your turn, then you can activate it, negate that effect, and then get one of the effects. It would be
Okay,
absolutely
holy
fucking
shit, absolutely not.
yeah. No, that would
that
that
would
would
be ridiculous.
no, but I feel like that's the way people were treating the card when it was announced. Like it was
That's
like this
fair, that's fair.
amazing, like this is gonna warp the format. No, it's just a good tempo card. It's a good Dragoon counter, but we'll talk about that later.
I think one of the problems with it is that because what a lot of people really thought it would be good for is using it in response to hand traps, and like while it is good at that, it gets kind of clunky and can be dead if you do draw it and your opponent just doesn't respond. Because if you're going first, especially right now in the meta, like you're usually gonna set up a pretty obscene board.
Yeah.
Like most decks are trying to set up like huge negate boards. That
I get what you're saying.
Close out.
Sorry, you go.
I was gonna say, and also it can kind of not conflict, but it seems unnecessary to add this into decks that are running like other draw cards, because would you really want to cut a quote-unquote guaranteed draw card like Extravagance or Desires or like anything like that for a card that only works if your opponent activates something on your turn?
I get what you're saying. So it's at best a situational card, but at worst a win more card, or vice versa. I got you, and that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what you're describing. It is like a huge win more card. So I don't know. I feel like the price of triple tactical talents or three tactics talents is it's. I don't think it's gonna crash, because at the end of the day, it does have the effect of 3 banned cards. But I can see it dropping as low as like $30 bucks.
Yeah, it's like, it's just one of those cards, like you said, that it's a really good card, but it doesn't. It does a lot of things, but its like activation is kind of weird, wonky.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's best left for if you're going second, because then you can at least determine, okay, they're gonna negate this effect with this monster. My tactic is now live. Instead of, if you're going first, activating your Pot of Extravagance, hoping it gets ashed, or hoping it doesn't, I don't know.
Which it does. It does
It
all
happens.
the time. 100% of the time it gets ashed.
Yeah. And then you're like, okay, cool, now my triple tactics talent is live. Whereas, sometimes you don't know what their hand is. You don't know what their starting hand of 5 is. So I think it's best left for going second, because then you can at least bait out or force a monster negate or force a monster effect, so that your tactic is live. And that's why I think Forbidden Droplets is a better card overall, because it doesn't target, it negates everything up to the number of cards that you send to the graveyard, which is sometimes, depending on the deck, that's good in and of itself. You can't respond to it based on the cards that you do send to the graveyard. So if you send monsters, they can't respond with monsters. If you send spells, they can't respond with spells. And then the attacks of all the monsters that you choose is halved. So it's just like, all right, cool.
I know. No, that's literally it's literally the blind second OTK strategy's wet dream of a card.
Here's a question. What do you guys think of TTT being a side deck card?
That's why I think it's better as a side deck card for sure, just because like then you can at least guarantee like, oh, I'm going second, time to play this card.
I completely agree. I think this card is like very well suited for exactly that, like side decking. And again, I think Shane, you mentioned it earlier, it is going to get better in the upcoming format once we get to the 2020 Megaton, which we'll talk about in a moment. Because this card is really good when it comes to dealing with Dragoon.
I think that's something that we can use to segue into our next topic, which is meta changes.
Or do we want to talk about the 10s before meta changes, or do we want to talk about meta changes first?
Well, I mean, we're talking about a new set, so I think talking about
it. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I've been seeing Forbidden Droplet get played in online play. I've been seeing Triple Texas Talent get played in online play. I've been seeing Dogmatica get play, and I've been seeing Oval get play, and I've been seeing Chaos Rule, the Chaotic Magical Dragon get play in Dragon Link decks. And yeah, this has been a good set for the meta. Maybe not necessarily the... I was just informed that I'm kind of quiet. But yeah, it's just a good set for new meta stuff. I personally am not in love with the meta right now. It's better than it was for sure, just because there's a little bit more diversity.
Which is nice, because I think a huge complaint for a long time was that, like, oh cool, the last 3 months have been, are you playing Adamantipator? Are you playing Eldritch? Oh cool, you're playing one of those, nothing else.
Yeah.
Where now you're at least seeing, like, different Numeron decks. Unfortunately, Guru Numeron is actually good, and it's sad, and it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
But again, you're seeing, like, Dragon Link just storm the meta, and while a lot of people might not love it, it's good for the meta in the sense that you're not just watching the same stuff over and over again.
Well, I mean, depending on if you play that deck, you know, you're just going to see the same combo over and over again. But I guess, well, you kind of are seeing the same thing over and over and over again, but just in a different shell. It's always going to devolve into Halka Rex and Link Cross plays.
Not necessarily, because Dogmatica doesn't go into their extra deck at all.
Except if you're playing the Eldritch Synchro Dogmatica deck that topped one of the things recently.
Or should all Dogmatica as well. But I mean, like, generally, if you're just playing, like, let's say Invoke. Okay, I misspoke. They do go into their extra deck. But, I mean, most of their cards prevent you from doing so. Like, if you're activating Nadir Servant or if you're activating Maximus, you can't go into your extra deck for the rest of the turn. But it's for the rest of the turn. It's not for the entire turn. It's not one of those cards that says you cannot go into your extra deck the turn that you activate this card. It says for the rest of this turn. So you could do whatever shenanigans you want earlier, such as get your stupid Mechaba out and then activate your Nadir Servant or go into your Maximus or whatever. But they're not super extra deck reliant from what I've been seeing.
As much as I don't like Dogmatica, I think they are healthy in this format. In that they're a really good answer to a huge problem that we've been seeing of decks that just rely on doing the exact same extra deck combo and ending on pretty much exhausting their extra deck and just getting everything on the board immediately and setting up.
Yeah.
Like, Dogmatica is really good at preventing that and actually forcing you to play a game outside of just, I'm going to summon a bunch of stuff that you literally cannot deal with.
Exactly. I'm surprised that we haven't seen like, I honestly thought that Dogmatica Mech Knight was going to be, like, a top tier deck, especially since Mech Knight was already pretty damn good going second. Dogmatica and the Forbidden Droplets and everything have, you know, just improved that. But no, you're right.
Time.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. Dogmatica, it helps, you know, slow the game down a bit.
It also just gives you counterplay for the meta. It's a good anti-meta strategy, which in itself is meta.
Yeah.
That's almost everything that I can think of in terms of where we're at in the meta. Dragon Link got a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, I think we might want to talk about Dragon Link a little bit, because it's been kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
I just see linking into Romulus, activating or getting Divine Lance, Dragoon Divine Lands, and then activating on Romulus to equip Phalanx, and then Phalanx activating its effect to special summon itself. And I'm like, wait, I've seen this before. Oh wait, I do that, and that's the extent of their Dragoonity plays. So, that's really it.
I don't know how I feel about Dragon Link, because Dragon Link is just kind of mashing as many dragon archetypes together as possible and just making them do the things that they do, but like in turns.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm gonna do the rocket stuff now, then I'm gonna do the Dragoonity stuff, then I'm gonna do this.
Now I'm gonna do the guard dragon stuff, and look, now I'm doing red MD stuff.
So I don't know how I feel about it. The boards that it can set up are unbelievably terrifying.
Fucking Buster well played. Buster,
Yep.
that card needs to get banned. I'm sorry. Vanity's Emptiness is banned for a reason.
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll talk about some banned stuff in a little bit, but yeah, I think it's pretty interesting to see Dragon Link go from just kind of falling off to the wayside to being huge again. It's both nice and scary at the same time.
Just the unbelievable amount of starters they have in that deck.
And
the deck is so consistent.
Yeah, its consistency is just through the roof.
I honestly feel like it might be the most consistent deck in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! In terms of getting their final board, depending on what kind of hand they get.
I don't know about in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Or modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's say post 2014.
I don't know still. There are some pretty consistent decks.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess I really shouldn't say that, considering I left the game in 2014 and came back in 2019, so...
Even just recently, there are decks that have had, like, similar consistency. I'd argue to say, Mermaid Orchis and Striker, even, like, had very similar consistency, where pretty much whatever they opened in their hand was playable. Because what, Mermaid was 2-3 monsters, and you had full combo? And you just cleaned up?
Mermaid is one monster, but I mean, effectively, you just needed 2 monsters with different names to go into any of the Nightmare monsters, like Phoenix, and then off of Phoenix, you link into Unicorn.
Yeah, and that's what I meant. Like, you just needed to get a Nightmare on the board, and then you finished a full Orchis combo. And I'd say that's similar in terms of consistency of Dragon Link. Because in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not hard to get 2 different named monsters on the board.
True that. With all this talk of the meta, do you want to talk about, because it's banless season, do we want to transition into what we think might happen?
Yeah, I'd say it's a pretty good time for that.
Cool.
Or do we want to hit up Megatins first? Or the Megatin first before
we can mix that discussion in, because it'll factor in at least.
Yeah.
But in terms of the ban list, there's 2 things that could happen. 3 things that could happen. 1, we don't get a ban list, because Konami has shown us that they will do that. I mean, or we'll get a ban list, but it's just like 3 things getting unlimited, which that's kind of stupid.
They just can't admit that online Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a possibility for the future.
Yeah.
Just can't do it.
Because otherwise they're gonna have to put out their own. They should just straight up buy Dev or EDO Pro, just hire the team or something like that and make them the official Konami. That'd be the dream.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's one possibility, that we don't get a ban list. The other possibility is that we do get a ban list, but it's another unlimited list. Wait, hold on. I'm mixing myself up. One is that we don't get a list at all. One is that we don't get anything. No unlimits, nothing. The other is that we get another unlimited list, or something gets like the last list, where Multifaker went to 3, and then I forgot which Necros card went to 3.
Unicorn.
We could get something like that. Or we could get a ban list, like an actual proper ban list, based off of the Remote Duel invitational that's happening later this week, actually in 4 days from when we're recording this, which I am hopeful for, I'm cautiously optimistic because I feel like Konami does want to release a ban list, but because there have quote unquote been, I mean, there literally have been no in-person events. But because there haven't been any events, they can't base anything. They can't base their ban list off of it. So they have to, have some alternative to release a proper ban list. And I feel like because the Remote Duel Invitational has a bunch of like the best minds in the game, they're going to use that as an opportunity to actually release a ban list. Do I think it'll happen? Maybe. I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other, but anyway.
Let me pull up that list, by the way, real quick. For
of people.
Yeah.
All the pros and actually really top content creators in NimNim.
It's it's a lot of like. Here we go. We've got Cody Angeloff, Jesse Cotton, NimNim, Doug Zeef, Paul McGee. That name sounds familiar.
Is that APS?
Yeah. Oh, yep. Yeah. So, tons of really good players in this.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as you, Ahmed. I am like very cautiously optimistic that Konami has the sense to realize that the community needs a ban list in order to continue to go forward here.
Yeah.
Because I think that the interest in we talked about it, I think, on the last podcast or the one before, but the interest in Yu-Gi-Oh! With everything going on is kind of waning. And that's because people aren't happy with the game right now because Konami just isn't doing anything.
Yeah. It's that and the combination of not actually being in person. I feel like, actually being with the cards, across from somebody, I don't know, it just feels better to play that way to me.
True.
I have a hard time keeping it like my attention on online simulators. I can play like a game or two. I'm like, all right, well, this isn't the same.
Go ahead, Evan.
I was just gonna see if we were ready to transition, but go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think the community would be unified over another official Konami ban list rather than the controversial, just random ban lists we've seen. So I honestly think that if Konami were to release a ban list, even if it were a iffy list, even if they hit a bunch of kind of weird stuff, but maybe hit some of the bigger meta cards, I still think people would be happy and stand behind that, and the game would be a little bit more involved again.
Well, that being said, what do we want to see on a ban list? Shane has a lot of things to say about this.
Yeah, I'm gonna let him pull this one because this list.
Yeah, I spent the better part of last night.
Actually, let me just get my list out there. It's
all right.
Short. What did I write? Banning Block Dragon would be cool. Banning Smoke Grenade or the Thief would be cool. Banning Link Cross would be cool. If they don't do that, hitting Needle Fiber in some capacity would be cool. Maybe banning it, but that's probably not going to happen. Limiting it to one would at least, secure its spot as a mandatory one of, because if it's limited, sorry, you can't play more than one. But yeah, if they don't hit Link Cross, I'd like to see Needle Fiber hit, but I don't think they're going to hit it. In any case, some sort of card in Eldritch to 2, because I think it's balanced as an engine. But it needs a little slap on the wrist. Either Eldritch itself going to 2 or Sanguine going to 2.
Just a little too consistent. Yeah. That's all.
Yep. And then maybe, this is a little spicy, but maybe hitting Isolde, just because getting hand looped in Infernoble Knights isn't very fun. But you could also just hit the cards that are actually hand looping you, because I think Isolde is a really strong card, but I don't think it's broken. Anyway, that's all I really have to say about the ban list. I'd like to see something, but we'll see.
So, should I go into mine now?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I don't really have an ideal list myself. I just want something, and I just want them to acknowledge that there is a meta, even if they aren't officially sanctioning it.
Right. One last thing is goodbye Topic Zexel.
Yeah. I would like. That's the only card I would like to see banned because that card should not exist. Like in an era where Numerons exist. I think Numerons are fine outside of that. Shane.
So I just want to preface by saying, like, I think we will get a list, but it is 100% going to be an unlimited list like we had before. If we have a few more remote duel invitationals, then I believe we might see an actual kind of list based around that. But I feel like Konami would be really jumping the gun if they just do one list based off of one invitational. I mean, they'll use that as an excuse because they probably are following, you know, all these online tournaments like the PPG Quarantine Series, Luxury Championship Series. But I don't know. I feel like then they would have to acknowledge it because if they base something off of, you know, just one tournament, I think that'd be dumb. Anyways, so I kind of broke my list up into like 3 sections, like an if anything, not likely, and then kind of like a spicy section of stuff that I kind of want to see happen, or I think would be interesting to see happen, but most likely will not. So in the if anything, I have Rusty Bardish to 1, Archfiend to 3, Infernity Archfiend to 3, something in the BAs or all the BAs getting unlimited or moving up on the or down on the list, I should say. Tour Guide to 3, and then Zodiac Barrage to 2 or 3. Reason being is all the Phantom Knight support that recently came out, the Infernity support that was announced, and with the Phantom Knight support, Burning Abyss was part of that. Tour Guide helps that strategy, so that's what I was thinking, and it's been moving up the list or down the list, I should say. You know, over the past couple of years. And then Zodiac Barrage to 2 or 3 because I think Tri-Brigade Zodiac is going to be a pretty decent tier 2 strategy. Any thoughts on that, guys, before I move into the other ones, or should I just go nuts?
I think I don't know about Bardiche. I can see it coming back because of the support, but I still think it is a card that has like reason to stay banned.
Yeah, and if I mean I can see it all coming back, but if that's the case, then I feel like PK Fire, or isn't that what they called the Phantom Knight Burning Abyss deck? I believe that's what they called it.
Yeah.
I feel like if Tour Guide went to 3, the BAs got unlimited, and Rusty Bardish went to 1. I feel like that deck would be absolutely nuts, but I think Konami might want that just so they push some more of the Phantom Knight support.
That could be it, because the new Phantom Knight stuff is pretty solid. It's not broken from what I've played against or what I've seen, but I think unlimiting all of that at once, not unlimiting in terms of like just everything to 3, but I'm just saying like taking something off the list,
giving them those options again.
Yeah, I think that I don't know if it'd be too problematic because Rusty Bardiche is a hell of a card. It's a +2 essentially. But yeah, I don't know. I think it would be certainly good for the deck. I don't think it would break things though. I don't know. Speculation.
One other thing I think we might have missed talking about, but I've heard a few people talk about this, and it's unbelievably likely, and I'm excited for it. But people have been talking about Widow Anchor to 3 because it doesn't really make sense at 2 because it's the semi-limited list is reserved for things that just can't exist at 3, and I can't really see why or how Widow Anchor fits into that. And also, Striker hasn't really like blown up. It won a couple of events. Yeah, I think that's something that we might see.
I could see.
I was thinking about that, but I have something else on my list down the road that I kind of it's a reason why I did not touch anything else on the Sky Striker path.
Ooh, I'm gonna scroll through this and look because. Oh, okay. I'm muting.
You're what?
I'm gonna mute here because I have a lot to say on that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll get to it. I promise. So is that so that's what my if anything list was. Then I have like a not likely, which is this is if Konami did something based on the Invitational, and this is just going off of like the meta decks and everything. But I would say Halqifibrax or Link Cross bans, one or the other. If one gets hit, the other doesn't really need to. But if I could choose, I would pick Link Cross just because Halqifibrax kind of helps bad synchro decks as much as it breaks good synchro decks or good synchro combos. Block Dragon needs to get banned. It's just way too consistent. I mean, you get to add 3 monsters from your deck to your hand, and that's just way too good. That's pretty much it for Adamancipator, I would say. But for Eldritch, Sanguine to 1 or 2. I know that kind of, I don't know. The problem with the deck is not you don't want to hit the power, so you don't want to hit the Golden Boy, but you want to hit the consistency, and Sanguine is what makes the deck consistent. So I would say that to 1 or 2, but I know that kind of kills the deck.
It doesn't kill it. I completely agree that I think, in my opinion, the reason people don't like Eldritch is because it's splashable. And if you semi-limit Golden Lord, that doesn't really do much. It just really gives them another card to put in the deck.
Exactly.
I've seen a lot, and I'm currently playing a build of a deck that runs Eldritch with only 2 Golden Lords because the third one isn't necessary. I'd say Sanguine to 2 would be fine. I think that's totally okay. The deck's just slightly too consistent.
Yeah. What about the if you hit that one Eldland Forever, the continuous spell? No, that's the counter trap. What's the continuous spell?
Curse Eldland.
Cursed Eldland. If you hit that,
I think that would be a good hit to try, because I don't really know what the answer here is.
It's either Sanguine or that.
Yeah. I personally would like to see Cursed Eldland hit, because I think that Sanguine is really, really important to the gas of the engine, because that's how you get your next copy, because you banish it to get your Conquistador, and then no matter what happens, you're going to want to end with that Conquistador going to the grave so you can get your next Sanguine, and I don't really like the idea of hitting that, personally. But yeah, I think Cursed Eldland would be a good hit, because I don't know. It just, that card is really powerful, and it always pluses you.
Yeah.
Literally always pluses you.
Well, onto the last tier 1 deck right now. And I have no clue what to hit on this deck, but the Rocket Engine or just Dragon Link needs to get hit. I don't want to see them hit the Guard Dragons because that would hurt you, Ahmed. But I don't know what else they would. What would they hit in the deck? Tracer to 1.
That's the hard thing, because the deck runs like 5 engines in 1. And thank you for your empathy. As far as the Guard Dragons go,
but I think that's the choke point, okay. Though.
It is the choke point. The Dragoonity wouldn't die with the Guard Dragons banned. It wouldn't be like the best thing, but you know, LP Pisty being gone would kind of suck. Not like that could be playable, but not as much. You know, whatever. That's a topic for a different time. But if you're trying to actually just like a neuter Dragon Link, bye Guard Dragons. You know, hitting or not hitting, but eroding Red MD was good, but it clearly wasn't enough actually.
Not at all.
Yeah.
See, yeah, that's the thing. That's why Dragon Link is just such a tricky deck to hit, because it's like 5 dragon engines in 1. You're playing Chaos Dragons in some builds. You're playing Dragoonity cards. You're playing
Rockets.
You're playing Rockets. Yeah, it's just like you're playing Red Eyes cards. You're playing Black Rose Dragon cards. It's
Does
just so many things. You're playing Guard
Crusadia,
Dragon
Dragon Link.
cards. It's just crazy. The deck
Yeah.
is so many separate things that just work. So I don't have an answer for that. I don't have an answer.
It's just that Dragon is a really powerful archetype. It is
Yeah.
the most broken archetype.
It is the singular
Hands
reason
down.
why we have worm archetype monsters.
I can't remember. Do some Dragon Link decks run the limited Dragon Rulers? Because I know Dragon
Maybe?
Maids were running them. Okay, I know
No.
Dragon
It's
Maids
just
run them.
Tempest, right?
It's
Tempest
just
is the only one.
That's unlimited, or that's limited right now.
Yeah.
So far. We'll get to that later.
That's really all I had. I couldn't remember if I had seen that. I know I've seen, like I said, Dragon Maids running Tempest, but
Yeah, but they're running Dragon Maid in there too. Some of them, like as an engine. They just
No,
reminded
thank you.
me. I don't know. I unfortunately, I think the call is hitting the guard dragons if you want to kill Dragon Link. But on to the next one. I was gonna say Utopic Zexal ban just because it's a not fun card to play against. And then, so those are the meta decks. But if you hit the meta decks, that means like the decks that are on the cusp of being meta are going to become oppressive. So that's kind of why I did the next couple of them. I would say Magical Meltdown to 1 for invoked stuff to just hurt the consistency of that. Fossil Dig to 1 because Dino is would be way too strong with the amount of searchers it has. Mystic Mine ban just because fuck Mystic Mine. And then kind of on the back of what we were talking about earlier too.
They're not gonna ban mine.
I know
They're
they're
not gonna do
ban mine.
that. It doesn't need to be banned.
Hey man, it just won a prestigious tournament, all right?
Maybe semi-limit or limit it, but
Yeah.
like I don't even think it needs that.
But anyways,
Card's
then
annoying.
yeah. I was gonna say Red MD to 3, but that is post errata. So that's like my not likely list of stuff that has a chance of happening. But if they give us an unlimited list, that's, you know, we're not gonna get any of the stuff we just talked about.
In terms of like preemptive hits, because we have a very fun card coming out called That I don't know. Like, I don't know what they could do, because you can't ban Red Eyes Fusion. I mean, you can, but all your Red Eyes players just lost their Fusion card. I mean, you could ban Dark Magician and Red Eyes Black Dragon, but holy shit.
Yeah, we need to ban Dark Magician. It's been oppressive since the game, you know, the inception of the game.
I feel like they might need to hit Verte, and I know it's unlikely because it just came out, but that's the card that like makes this all scary.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking in terms of, and I don't even actually at that point it wouldn't even be a preemptive ban because Dragoon would be out before Verte before the ban list, because the ban list is like September 1st or something, or no sooner than September 1st, 2020. And Dragoon's coming out in like the 20-something,
28th.
28th. Okay. So I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of in terms of like a preemptive ban or a hit. But I don't think they're gonna do that.
I don't think they'll do it right now, which is unfortunate. We might have to play through a pseudo tier 0 like meta, because that's literally what happened in the OCG. Is this card dominated almost every tournament in every deck that like you could run.
Yeah,
I think it would be a good call to, at least in January, hit Verte, because then the card can still exist. You don't have to ban or limit it, because it comes down to you having to draw like Red Eyes Fusion, or like somehow draw like another combination of cards to get to it. But Verte is the thing that makes it completely enabled.
Yeah, I have thoughts on it though. I think everyone is blowing this card out of proportion, and I know that sounds bad when it did actually run the OCG format.
It literally ran the OCG format for
but the
months.
thing is they had it, but we have more cards as response now, and we've also seen it and know how to plan accordingly. I feel like Dragoon is going to be the 3 tactics talents of the Megatins. Where everyone's saying like
completely disagree.
I don't know, because okay, think about it this way. That you will end on the Verte Anaconda to make our Dragoon. But if you're playing a meta deck already, you're ending on Herald, Borreload Savage at minimum, and in other combo decks, more negates, a domain lock, or an extra. Well, yeah. So
you're also gonna end on your own Dragoon. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. It's almost, and this is why I drew the comparison to 3 tactics talents, because just what we were talking about before. It's almost a win more card. Like I can see, I think Dragoon is going to have a spot in the meta the same way VFD has a spot in the meta. For decks that want to push meta, so they'll just they try their best to make a VFD or a Dragoon or something like that. Also, the fact that we have Kaijus and everything like that. We have Forbidden Droplets now. We have 3 tactics talents. I don't know. I feel like. I just feel like this card is not. It's going to be extremely strong, and you're going to see it in the meta. I just don't think it's going to run the format. And yes, I already hear the Curb Your Enthusiasm music right now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to say I hard disagree. I think that if you really want to talk about like which format has more cards, the OCG has so many options that we have banned or unavailable to us.
Are Kaiju TCG or no?
I don't know. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure no.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I think they might have started TCG, but I'm pretty sure they're in both.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, the OCG has things like Max C still just free to them. Skill Drain just free to them. And this card still decimated. Because the problem isn't that, oh, it's just like another boss monster. The problem is it's a boss monster that any deck can put out by running a few cards. Just a handful of cards. They can just go full combo. And end on something that cannot be targeted, can negate you. It gains attack, so you can rarely attack over it.
I don't know. I mean, I guess like cards like Dragon Link would be able to just, take 3 cards of their 60 card deck out already and throw in a, one.
They get a Red Eyes Dragon in their deck.
Well, yeah, but
if you stop the thing from coming out, they just have another dragon to use as a target for something.
I don't know. Like I said, those are my feelings on it. But do we want to? Did you guys have anything else on that at all, or should I move on to the? And I'm just gonna go through, like, blow through it because there's quite a bit. The spicy part of the list.
That's fine. Go for it.
Okay. So I'm gonna start off with saying, and I mentioned it before, Redox to 1, but that's only if Block Dragon gets banned. So let's say Block Dragon gets banned, we give Adamancipator and other Earth decks a Monster Reborn. I don't know how it would have an effect. I just think it would be funny.
Okay.
Martial Metal Marcher banned, but that's only if Hulk and Link Cross don't get banned. This is the thing that like helps them extend. This is the level 3 synchro that they go into. I feel like if you hit that, it might hit the speed of the deck, and not the consistency, but like it might make them run suboptimal things that are a little bit more susceptible to interruption. Like I honestly think they're just gonna go to the Tatsunoko, where it just lets them use a monster in their hand as synchro material. We just talked about this, but the something in the Red Eyes fusion or Dragoon thing hits. So either the fusion, the Verte Anaconda, or Dragoon. There's a huge like preemptive ban. I think that's extremely unlikely, but it could happen. Dragon Buster Destruction Sword ban because fuck Vanity's Emptiness. I had hand grenaded the Thief band because I felt like if I hit Dragon Link and Adamantipator and the Halcyon Link Cross combo, if you don't hit Infernoble Knight, they're just going to become tier 1 just overnight and, you know, kind of destroy the format. But I think I agree with Ahmed, and you have to hit Isolde if you're going to do that. I put a new one on here actually. I think VFD has a chance to get banned because if you top pick Zexal gets banned, VFD probably has a rightful spot on that list. I mean, it already does. It, like I mentioned it before, but the VFD is already on the list in the form of Shockmaster.
The thing that I'll say about VFD is a little bit more, not situational, but like specific. The problem with Zale is that, again, much like Dragoon,
Shockmaster.
Well, I was gonna say, much like Dragoon, Zale is just free as long as you play Calling in the Gates, and the spell, the field spell network.
Yeah.
It's just literally a free. Well, you made me go first. I'm just gonna stop you from playing the game.
Yeah.
With VFD, you have to actually like plan around going into it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, let's say you're at locals and you know the guy you're playing against, and he brings Dragon Link to every single like thing. You're just gonna call Dark, or you know, that's the thing too. It's in a vacuum. You're right. It is just a random guess. But if you know who you're playing against, or you know, let's say as they were shuffling, a card flew out of their deck and it's like a Mermail card, you're just like, oh, okay.
No, I'm not talking about like, oh, you have to make a guess. I'm saying that Zale isn't really a good comparison, because Zale right now, the problem is that it's way too generic and easy to get out, where VFD you can't just splash into any deck.
I mean, any deck that can make 9s or get up to 9s, like...
Yeah, but I play Striker. I can't fucking do that.
Yeah, I know. No, but I'm saying that
I can play Zale and Numeron, and I'm actually
what I'm saying is there's a community, and trust me, I'm on a ton of like Discords and stuff of bad decks or decks that are like tier 3 and below, and everyone just screams about, okay, guys, we can make VFD. Guys, look, Trains can make VFD. Guys, look, Crusadia can make VFD. Megalith can make well, Megalith doesn't need to make VFD. We can make Chaos Max, but or Tenyi can make VFD. Like it's a card that these bad decks are going to like try to rush and make, because just like Mystic Mine, it's a great equalizer. Like, yes, Tenyi is not as good as Adamantipator, but if Tenyi can drop VFD on the field and call Earth, that's all you have to do. And then technically Tenyi beats Adamantipator, but really it was VFD.
True. I don't know. I think the game needs equalizers like that to
that's what I'm
prevent
saying.
just full-on like power scaling of, oh, tier 1 decks beat tier 2 and lower. Tier 2 decks beat tier 3 and lower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I think VFD, like, you're right, like, these bad decks have to, like, specialize their deck to go into VFD.
Like the Fluffle combo, like the Fluffles that I was playing, and the reason why I kind of, like, stopped playing it was everyone's just like, okay, we can make two of the Cruel Whales and overlay them into VFD pass.
Yeah, I think...
like, is that really the most optimal play here? Like, I mean, there was the Artifact combo, which was pretty cool, but... I don't know.
I just don't think VFD is as bad as people like are afraid that it is, because it's a strong card, but again, like a lot of decks have to make sacrifices
to play it. Yes.
Yeah,
except
to
Generator.
Play it, which generators are their own obnoxious thing. But again, it's more like Zale is just all you have to do is play some of the cards in your extra and 6 cards, I think.
Yeah.
In your main. And then
it's 3 the field spell, 2 the calling, and 1 of the wall.
Yep. Yeah, and then it's just there's so many decks that can afford that, where a lot of these bad decks have to give up on maybe a different combo that they wanted to do to get into VFD. But anyway, we don't have to talk about like
VFD specific. Okay, I was gonna say I'm gonna keep going down the list. This one's a bit spicy, and yes, it is completely because I started playing a combo deck. But Nibiru banned, but
Fuck
only
you,
but that's only if the like Halcyon and Link Cross do get banned. If those, or they don't get banned. Sorry. Because if the combo decks like get banned, then then you can ban Nibiru, because otherwise all the other combo decks, you know, like Mermail and shit that don't use Hulk are just, you know, Nibiru. I don't know. Nibiru is just kind of like a almost unfair card, but I guess it punishes for overextending. But I do agree that it does, like, it is in that equalizer place that we were just talking about. Pankratops to 3, but that's only if Nibiru gets banned.
these three in a row are great here.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think 3 Pank would be funny. And this is still because I was a filthy, and it still kind of am a filthy OTK player. Red Reboot to 3, and if that doesn't happen, Heavy Storm, Harpy's Feather Duster, or to a lesser extent Giant Trunade, one of those to 1. Because fuck Altergeist and Guru and any back row deck. But anyways, Rapier to 2 or 3, Broadbull to 1, Lunalight Tiger to 1, and MX Saber Invoker to 1. These are just, you know, some ideas, because, you know, if they want to try to push Tri-Brigade, you have all these Beast Warrior type things that could help. Invoker, I feel like, would be really, really cool in the deck, or really, really oppressive, I'm not sure.
I have to say, I don't think they could do both Rapier and Broadbull.
It's probably going to be like one or the other.
Yeah, it would almost have to be one or the other. And I don't know which I'd prefer, but yeah, those cards are gone for a reason.
Yeah, and how do you feel about the Lunalight Tiger?
I really don't like Lunalights, so I prefer it to stay where it is, so...
Oh, everyone thought Lunalight Tiger was going to go to 1. Then it got fucking banned. But I don't know. I feel like Lunalight Tri-Brigade would be a really, really cool deck to play against once, and then just absolutely dread after that. But anyways, on to the other ones. Infernity Launcher to 2 or 3, I feel like that would be way too strong, but if then they really want to push Infernity, they could do that along with the Archfiend Unlimit. E-Telly to 3, because Data Escape. You know, if Rocket gets their E-Telly, why don't Psychics get their own? I feel like E-Telly to 3 really wouldn't have too big of an effect on the meta. Harp Horror to 1, but that's only if Babel gets banned or Nightmare goes to 1 or 2.
I would really like if they banned Babel and gave Harp Horror back. I actually think you could unlimited Harp Horror again if Babel was banned, personally. Because Babel is the reason the deck is so oppressive, or was.
Yeah. Mirage Stalio to 1, just, I don't know, like...
Just because?
Yeah, just because. Like I said, this list is just half just because.
Hey guys, I know salads are still doing good, but like, maybe just give them one of their cards back.
Yeah, why not? Colossus to 1, ABC Dragon Buster to 2, Danglong to 1, Zen Mighty to 1, Electromite to 1, Yotrif. Engage to 1, but only if Hornet Drones gets banned. Justin, you want to say something about that?
I've beaten this conversation to death, but I think Engage could even be at 2, arguably even 3, if Hornet Drones just disappeared.
Yeah, because Hornet Drones is the reason why it was like what people were literally just playing 3 Hornet Drones, 1 Engage. And that was the Striker engine. In fact, Trains were doing that for a while, and that was, I think somebody even got a regional top with that. Striker
Something, 1 spell special summon monster that can recycle itself and get another monster with no restrictions. Really powerful. Really powerful.
Yeah.
But then again, haha lol XD bonus card is also pretty powerful, so...
Yeah. Then the Danger monsters, so Danger Nessie, Jackalope, and Tsuchinoko to 2. What the fuck did they ever do to anybody? Why are they on the list?
They're kind of just free monsters.
Well, yeah, but like, still, no one was playing Dangers except for like Grenmaju or...
That's not true. Danger Thunder Dragon was oppressive.
Well, yeah, and then
like,
they hit Colossus.
People. Yeah, but like, way after they hit the Dangers. Dangers got banned or got hit for a reason. They're just, especially in a meta right now where just getting a tuner and another monster on the board are just essentially free wins.
That's fair.
Dangers are a little powerful.
All right, that's fair.
You also can't ash them, by the way. Reminder.
Oh yeah. And then the last two is Pantheism to 3 because why not, and Melee to 3 because Heroes did nothing wrong.
Melee to 2.
Well, Melee is at 2.
Oh, you're right. For some reason, I thought it was banned.
It used to be limited, didn't it?
I believe
Pretty sure
so,
it used to be limited. But yeah, that's my meme list at the end there. But I don't know. That's what I think is gonna happen. I don't know if you guys have any comments on it. I know I have it linked in the thing, so if you want to look at it and comment on anything. I know in the spicy part, there's probably a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say I already kind of like made my comments on this list during it. I play back row decks, and I would actually like to see an alternative to Lightning Storm come out or come off the list. Dear
God, please! I don't want to drop $300 and some on that.
Because I'm gonna be honest, like I play back row decks. I hate getting Lightning Stormed, but it's a little sad to see that anyone who plays a combo deck or like any deck that doesn't care about back row, have to fork out several $100s just to have a card that is almost necessary for matchups.
Yeah, and is a dead card if you, if you draw it after you get a card on the field, or a face-up card on the field.
So yeah, I'd be okay to see something like Feather Duster to 1.
Or even just Heavy Storm. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Heavy Storm to 1 would actually... I guess the only deck that I'm thinking of that it would help would be like Unchained or something. Like destroy all spell and traps on the field. Yes, please.
Also, I really don't think Dragon Buster Destruction Sword being banned is that spicy. I think that's more like a normal opinion. Because something about that lock is a little unfun to play against.
Yeah.
So.
And that's not the way they intended Buster Sword Destruction Sword to be played.
It's not at all. But hey, it's kind of Konami. They'll release a bunch of cards that don't do anything, forget about them, and then release Union Carrier.
Yeah. Like even if they came out with like a bandit and came out with like an alternative, like something like, I don't know what the name would be, like just, your opponent cannot special dragon type monsters from their extra deck, and then make somehow like a monster on the field. Like if you have Buster Blader on the field, all cards in your opponent's extra deck become dragon type, or something like that. But like make it so it's specific to the Buster Blader archetype.
Yeah, I think Dragon Buster could go, and nobody would be upset.
Yeah, it's just a vanity. Like, I don't want to have to play through Herald and Borreload Savage and possibly another negate, and then also have to worry about a domain lock.
Ahmed, do you have anything to say on Shane's very cute list?
Not really.
Got it. Should we move on then to talking about the couple of events that have gone on, primarily the quarantine series recently, because some very interesting things happened at this quarantine series.
Oh yeah.
For starters, how old is Jeff Leonard?
I have no idea. Old.
Like, I can probably look this up, but he's not young.
No,
and he currently just
not.
won the most recent quarantine series with a Mystic Mine deck against Megalith.
I
want to look at the list because I'm pretty sure it's pretty standard.
He had some spicy stuff like Silent Wobby. He had Planet Pathfinder is pretty normal.
Well, but he still plays like the Final Countdown, Left Arm Offering, Field Barrier, stuff like that. Like and what's it called? It's called Scald. Like if you follow Jeff Leonard for a little while, like these are very standard Jeff Leonard cards.
Yeah.
Even Silent Wobby, he was talking about months ago that he wanted to start playing.
Yeah, because he was playing DD Guide, right?
Yep, because it just immediately activates Mystic Mine. It just is I was actually making a joke that I wouldn't be surprised if mine players started playing like Santa Claus, because it's just literally a special summon to your opponent's side, regardless of if they have a monster. And oh, now you have mine. You guys have anything to say about the mine deck here?
Most of the events are pretty much like what we expected in terms of the meta. So
yeah.
It's like there are some cool decks, but not like when you see the breakdown, I'm like, okay, this is about what I'd expect for what people have been talking about and all that.
I kind of want to let Shane talk here, but I am unbelievably surprised by Megalith. I did not expect Megalith.
You should not
anything.
be. Megalith is blue Adamancipator, except in some cases a bit more consistent.
Yeah, but when Megalith came out, like everyone, like it was a meme. Like nobody.
It was a meme.
Like nobody cared.
It was specifically one card. No one like who followed, who didn't follow Megalith knew this card was really coming out. They're like, oh, or maybe they're like, oh, okay, so they're getting 2 cards, a spell and a monster. That's not going to do anything. It did. So just to go over the archetype, there's 3 level 8s, 3 level 4s, and a level 2. The 3 level 8s can ritual summon in hand by pitching themselves and a monster to ritual summon out a monster of equal level, or ritual summon out a monster in their hand that is the level of the card that they discarded or less. So you can pitch 2 level 8s to special summon a level 4. Aeritron is one that can ritual summon one as a quick effect, so it's like a hand trap during your opponent's turn, and that's part of the thing, part of the combo. So those are the 3 level 8s. The 3 level 4s, Ophiel, Haggith, and Och. Ophiel, when it's ritual summoned, adds a Megalith monster from your deck to your hand, and that is not once per turn. But what is once per turn is the effect that you can, and the level 4s tribute themselves on field to be part of the cost. So level 8's ritual summon from hand, level 4's ritual summon from field. And all the ritual summoning effects all the ritual summoning effects in general are all once per turn, hard once per turns. So Ophiel adds a monster, not once per turn. Haggith adds a Megalith spell or trap, not once per turn. And Och just, it's the weakest of the 3, but the Och is the quick effect. Och, just when it's ritual summoned, you draw a card and discard a card. But as a quick effect, you can ritual summon a ritual monster, during either player's turn. And that comes up in the combo, which we will talk about. Now, Fool is the entire reason the deck is meta right now. You can ritual... Okay, so I'm just going to read the effect right now. Ahmed, did you have something to say? You can sign off right now if you wanted to. He's gonna be back later, or he's just not feeling well right now. But so Fool, I'll just read it real quick. You can ritual summon this card with a Megalith card. If this card is ritual summoned, you can target 1 ritual monster in your graveyard. This card's level becomes the same level as that monster's and add it back to your hand. So you essentially get back whatever you use to ritual summon it. If you use one of the level 8s, you get one of the cards back. If you use the level 4, you literally just get that card back. And that's any ritual monster. You can add back your Chalice Slimes, which we'll go over, your Ben 10 if you run it, the Magician of Black Chaos Max if you discarded it, and then it automatically becomes like a level 8 or whatever level the monster is that you added back. So that's huge, because then you can just keep comboing off from there. Because as a quick effect, you can ritual summon from your deck a Megalith monster from your deck, and there are a lot of good targets for that. The combo is with Fool. You use that to special summon Och from your deck or hand, an Och effect to special summon Magician of Black Chaos Max, which, when it's summoned, you tribute another monster, and your opponent cannot activate monster effects for the turn. And that's just the main deck combo. Not to mention that there's an entire Link Cross combo with other cards that they have in the deck, like Adamancipator, Researcher, and Supplier.
Yeah,
Recover.
I know this
Yeah.
combo.
Fucking Block Dragon is in there to add, so it can just do all the pretty much Adamantipator shenanigans, and it's just absolutely fucking nuts. And the best part about it, and the thing that makes it just fucking hilarious, is it can summon that like hot red dragon or whatever the hell that is, like Calamity Archfiend or whatever. That just
Hot
just
red
like
dragon, Archfiend, whatever. Yeah.
King Calamity, and straight up, it like your opponent can't respond to it, and it just says your opponent's turn skips. They can't activate any card effects in from their hand, graveyard, already on the field. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Also, quick side note: it looks like Ahmed had to leave early, so.
Yeah, I already said. But
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Not to mention you have all the other just Megalith. It's just so consistent. You have 3 Manju, 3 Senju, the incantations, which are like absolutely ridiculous. It's just such a consistent deck. It's very fragile though. Kinda, sorta. It has other avenues of play. Like it can play through hand traps.
I feel like that's why you run the Adamanticators, because if the Megalith stuff gets stopped, like you just have the Adamantipator combos to fall back on.
Yes,
Adamanticators can play through hand traps pretty easy.
Yeah,
aside from Nibiru. Aside from Nibiru.
Yeah. Well, for Megalith, like we don't even care about Nibiru. We can just keep going. That's the thing. Megalith themselves can play through hand traps. The only hand trap that you cannot play with or play through, and I guess if Megalith gets, more meta, it'll become like a staple, is Droll and Lockbird. We just auto lose to that because we need to add cards from our deck to our hand. Oh, I also forgot to mention the effects of the other level 8s. Bethor, and this is a fucking blowout card. Bethor, when it's summoned, pops cards on your opponent's side of the field equal to the number of ritual monsters with different names in your graveyard. At worst, it's a so let's say you have Eritron, this, and another level 8 in your hand. It's a pop 2. At best, it can be like a pop 9. I've gotten to play test hands where I could pop 9 cards on my opponent's side of the field, and it's absolutely disgusting.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is absolutely disgusting. It's a board wipe. And then the one that you play only one of is Phaleg. Pretty good for just like cleaning up the game. Like if you going second, because this is a turn 1 deck. It just boosts your every monster you control's attack by 300 for every ritual monster in your graveyard. They can have the same name. So like I've gotten it to where like it boosts up to like 2700 if you get like 9 ritual monsters in your graveyard. It's kind of ridiculous.
Well, the only other deck in the Quarantine series that I was pretty surprised about was Water. Because I know people had made like a pretty big, I don't want to say fuss, but people like hyped Water and Mermail's return up with the Deep Sea Diva editions and stuff like that.
And Deep Sea Minstrel, that's a hell of a card.
Yup. And the thing is, like, the deck didn't really do anything. Like, it just kind of existed recently. And now we're seeing, in the only, like, somewhat competitive format that we can get, we're seeing that Water actually can do stuff and can compete with the likes of Eldritch. Which, might I add, let me look through this top 8, but I'm not seeing much Eldritch representation.
That's what I was surprised about.
Which, yeah, that's huge. Maybe it's in one of these as just like a supporting archetype, but most of this seems like Adamantipator and
Rocket
Dragon.
Ring.
Yeah, so
even a generator made it in over Eldritch.
That's not super surprising though, because generators, especially with Numeron now, which is the deck that made it. Spoilers, Numeron Generator. They just play too well. Like, Generator is a really good control strategy, and Numeron just literally boosts its control potential to a lot. And something that a lot of people I don't think talk about much with control strategies is grind game is great, until you need to close out the game.
Yeah.
And then it gets kind of slippery, where Numeron gives you a way to just close out the game because you just.
Which is why Striker hit the meta again once Access Code Talker came out.
Exactly. Because like that's the thing, right? Striker was, and that's why I think I want to test out running some Striker Numeron stuff, is because Striker's great to grind and grind and grind, but what are you grinding towards? You're stopping your opponent. You're like slowing the game down, but
you're just waiting for your opponent.
Yeah,
to
it's
out of frustration.
It's like, where are you going? It's the same problem Altergeist have had time and time again, and why they're great at the beginning of new formats and then fall to the wayside. They can grind you out and force you to be frustrated and call it, but in games where push comes to shove and people are actually going down to the last card in their deck, like, Geists do have a hard time closing out, and Strikers more so, in my opinion, have a hard time like getting to that end game. So yeah, Numeron Generator makes a lot of sense in my opinion because control strategy with a way to just like clean up. But yeah, that's really all I have on this today. Shane, do you have anything else today?
I was just gonna say that like the no Eldritch in this quarantine series is very, very interesting. Like I can't tell if they were just getting beaten or if the top players who were in this tournament, like they just decided they were gonna play other decks besides Eldritch, and the only people playing Eldritch were like inexperienced. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around the fact that Eldritch didn't make it with how oppressive Eldritch has been.
I mean, to be fair, I'm pretty sure the previous quarantine series, they were right there, just as they always were, you know?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. So I'm wondering if people
go back
decide, like, you know, I topped with Eldritch last quarantine series, I'll play something else this one. So then you have people playing things other than Eldritch, and now there's not too many Eldritch. It's either that or the fact that there was also the Luxury Championship Series, because this all happened on the same weekend, which I want to talk about because Megalith got second place in that too, and they actually got first place in a 3v3 South American tournament somewhere, I think. And this all happened like in one weekend, so that was really fucking cool. I was really happy to see Megalith being, you know, marking its spot on the map. I can definitely see, like, if Megalith gets big, Fool or something getting hit, but
that's way off.
Yeah, that's way off. That's if they absolutely fucking neuter everything, and then Megalith's just like, oh, hi.
Yeah, I don't really think I have anything else for today. Anything else you want to cover?
No, that's about it. I mean, we already talked about the ban list, you know, the sets and stuff. I mean, we didn't really get to the Megaton, but we can always talk about that later.
Yeah, and that's aside from Dragoon, nothing else is coming out other than reprints. And
yeah, I was gonna talk about.
I don't know, reprints. We can always talk about like when the set releases because who cares? The reprints aren't gonna have.
Just say one thing though about the reprints.
Sure, let me just say one thing. Reprints aren't gonna have a huge effect on the meta, realistically.
No. No, they're not. They're just going to make it a bit more accessible.
Yep.
And that's what I want to talk about, actually, because we were talking about interest being in the game, or in the game being at an all-time low, correct?
Yes.
So there's two ways to go about that. You got to excite them somehow. And I don't know. To me, interest in the game is like almost like a function of how accessible the game is, how much effort it takes to play the game, like in terms of money and stuff, and the accessibility of it. So if you lower the barrier to entry to playing like some of the top tier decks and actually winning, so reprinting those Borreload Savage Dragons, those Appaloosas, you know, format kind of staples in order to be competitive, you're making the game more accessible, which kind of sparks interest back into the game because now you have the game more accessible to more people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's why they reprinted what they did in this set.
I agree.
And why it's just an absolutely monstrous set for reprints. This is honestly like one of my favorite sets that I've seen, like set lists that I've seen.
Just is a reminder. I know a lot of people have their opinions on this because it was recent, but a lot of people look back at TOS format with like pretty fond memories. That being Thunder Dragon, Orcus, Sky Striker, Salads. And I
was that like that was like before the January ban list, correct? Or no?
Yes. It was when Sky Striker, Orcus were still topping.
Yeah.
When Thunder Dragon was still good. When Salamangrates came out. While they still had Mirage Stalio, stuff like that. I want to say, I think a huge reason why so many people loved that format and played in it for so much, and why it was such like a, in my opinion, a high of Yu-Gi-Oh, of recent Yu-Gi-Oh, is because all the decks were pretty easy to get into financially.
Yeah.
Sky Striker core was super cheap. Orcus core was really cheap. Thunder Dragons, aside from a few cards, were fairly affordable. Salamangrates, you literally bought 3 structure decks and then a couple of cards, and you had a competent deck.
Yeah.
Like, sure, you wanted your Synets, but you could play without it.
Dude, I'm so happy that Konami is actually releasing structure decks that have a chance at being competitive. Like the Rocket Revolt, Salamangrate one, Shadal was amazing.
People tried to say the Endymion one didn't do anything, but
no, I mean that's
Pendulum was like Pendulum, I was gonna say, yeah, Pendulum came and like hit for a while.
It was a rogue
like
strategy
Electromite
before,
and stuff.
yeah.
Yep.
In that conversation with the Tops thing, the Thunder Orcus or TOS, it was, you had Pendulum or Endymion style decks as like a rogue contender that were you had some success.
You had Geist, which was, if you weren't playing like a top tier like YCS strategy, was super affordable. The Altergeist core cost me maybe $50 for all the cards.
See, that's the thing. You make the game more affordable. People have better feelings to play the game instead of dropping $600 on a deck and being like, wow, was this really worth it to win my locals?
True. But yeah, I agree. I think the Megatin will be pretty good. I have some, we can talk about it in the next episode. I have some reservations about the Megatin, just because, in my opinion, comparatively, last year was better. I think the 2019 Megatin was one of the best Megatins to ever release. It was really, really good, and it gave you a lot of stuff. I think this is good, but I think they're missing the mark on a few of the cards that would be useful to lower the entry barrier. Adamant's Pair, Eldritch, the decks that are getting played.
Yeah. Well, those are all good. Well, I mean, hopefully we get the Golden Boy reprint and the Gold series. You want to know what else I would like to see, like in Gold Rares? Like even I don't know. I have always kind of liked Gold Rare. I know that's not a popular opinion, but
I love Gold Rare. I love Platinum Rare. Like I adore the weird rarity a lot.
But it has to be printed on the right card, which is why I feel like it left a lot of like a bad taste in people's mouths. But that's why I also want to say I feel like Gold Rare Megaliths would be amazing. Like a Gold Rare Ritual archetype. Especially because like I think the Gold Rare would really work with the card's art, and also the fact they're all in fucking common. So please, except for Ophiel and Eritron, which are supers, but just please give me a rarity bump. And if they all got reprinted in Gold Rare, that I'd be set. I'd be so happy.
I think that is a good place to call it here.
Yeah, and hey, that's another thing we can talk about. We can talk about the Gold series. Hopefully we'll actually have a fucking list.
Hopefully we'll have a list. I would really like to know if I should buy my other Eldritches or if I should wait. But here we are. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. This has been Table 501 Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm Justin.
I'm Shane, and Ahmed signed off earlier.
Yeah, Ahmed loves you all, so thanks you for listening.
He just wasn't feeling well.
Thank you for tuning in, guys, and we will see you next episode.
All right, see ya.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Everyone
going
ready?
in. That is 100% going in.
Everyone ready?